So, from start to finish, this is how you use Ableton. Let's open it up. And I'll show you from opening it up to finished output here. And this is your mixer here. You don't really use this. The top right. Click these three lines. Alright, so easiest way, for me anyway, is to start with drums, which is probably one of the more difficult parts of getting set up. So, the left side here, your categories, you're going to go down to samples. You can get new samples online if you don't like these. Just look up how to get more samples for Ableton. So I'm just going to put down simple drum setup here. You grab it here, and you drag it into an audio track. See how these are named audio? Put it into the audio track. So you can zoom in right here, where your hand, it becomes a little hand. The little holding a magnifying glass, you click it, you drag down to zoom in. If you want to zoom back out, you click it, you drag up. So I'm going to zoom in the audio. And I'm going to grab a snare sample, scroll all the way up to snares in the sample section. Okay, check if the timing's what I want. Yeah, so now you've got your kick and your snare set up, pretty basic. I'm going to insert an audio track here, and this is very important. So what we're doing here is we're setting up for the side chaining, which is going to allow your drums to come through. If you don't set up side chaining, your drums are not going to pop through at all, and everything's going to sound washed out. You don't want that. This was a game changer for me when I learned it, and you can't do drums any other way. It just sounds like crap. So, first thing, it's going to be on this. It's going to be on master. So you click on this little drop down arrow, you hit sends only. Okay? Now I like to rename it to sidechain, or I'll just do SC for short. Then you're going to go from extension in, no input. Okay? So now it's not going to make any sound. It's just going to tell the compressor that it needs to cut out the audio for the beginning of the drums. So basically, you copy the amount of the beginning of your kick or snare. I just do the kick to keep it simple, that you want to cut out. Typically you don't want much. I'm going to do about this much. Might be too much, we'll see. Then, so you scroll over it, copy, paste here, okay? And now you're going to want to copy paste this to every single kick snare that you have. So this is the envelope here. This thing just allows for the repetition up here. So you drag this little envelope over, and you can cause any area of drums to repeat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy paste these drums a few times. Now I've got a simple little drum line here. Okay, I'm going to put, you click this little circular arrow, square arrow, and then this repeats. So now on to the sounds themselves. So if you want to just use the built-in sounds, you go to sounds and you can click on any of these arrows and it'll give you built-in sounds. I don't like these very much. I don't use them. I only use Serum plugin, which will get you. So for now, I'm just going to click on the MIDI I want. Click on plugins. So for me, MIDI 1, plugins, Serum. Okay. Serum's pretty easy to use. Not super easy, but anyways, so this allows you to change the waveform and everything about it. So basically, I'm going to put down a little bass line here, and I'll show you what I got. First of all, unison is going to change how much kind of depth, kind of like a chorus effect almost, you have to your MIDI, to your waveform. Okay, so right now I'm going to turn it up a little bit. Maybe I'll just max it out at first. Detune is how much of a chorus effect you're going to have. These center lines right here, oh, I can't really show you, but see the center lines, the two yellow ones in the middle, is the main note. All the ones on the left and right of it are the extra unison waves that you're adding in for that chorus effect. So keep it simple. The wider you go, the more detuned, the more you know, off key it's going to sound. More of a harsh chorus effect you're going to have. So you just mess around with it, see what you like. You can either draw the notes in, or you can use your keyboard to play the notes. So octave obviously changes the octave, OCT. Then, when you're ready to record, you're going to want to not only hit the record button here, so this little time thing that's red, you hit here, then you click this when you're ready to record. So click it. Okay. So I'm going to put down a little bass line, and I'll get back to you when it's done. So whenever you have your bass line down, or whatever notes you want to put down, you want to go to the audio effects section. So you want to click on the MIDI effect you're trying, I mean not the MIDI effect, the sound, the MIDI that you're trying to do this to, which is called side chaining. You go on the side, you go to audio effects, you go to compressor, double click compressor, or you can drag it, and then you see you have compressor here. There's a little arrow next to the name compressor. You're going to click that. You're going to click sidechain, so it lights up yellow, and then audio from sidechain, which we named sidechain earlier. So do that. Then, another important step, go to threshold. You want to drag this all the way down, or most of the way down. You'll play with it, but it's got to be around down here somewhere. Okay? That's how you get your drums to pop through. So now, you want to do this compressor on every single sound group you have. So, as you saw, I created another section of notes, higher octave. I'm going to put it here too. Okay? Just copy it, paste it, you're good to go. Right? So now it should sound a lot different. Alright, so I want to show you the effects that I use the most, that I think sound the best. So, basically this is the basics. You get your drums down, get your side chaining on, get your notes down, side chain them, drums come through, start sounding better. Alright? So, one of my favorite effects is going to be ping pong delay. So that's under audio effects. Scroll down to ping pong delay. That's going to give it somewhat of a kind of residual kind of sound here. So this is without ping pong delay. And then that higher note with the ping pong delay on sounds a bit different. So you can hear kind of the you know, ping pong delay effect going there. So that's a really big one. Chorus does something similar to what I was showing you inside Serum, where it kind of creates that, you know, multi-layered effect to the sound. But it can also just kind of, I don't know how you put it, like equalize sounds a little bit. It sounds quite nice. I put it on a lot of different sounds. So I put on this higher note here. It's under Audio Effects Chorus, right above Compressor. And I'll let you hear it without and with here. So. And then with. And what's interesting is you can kind of change the modulation a little bit. So I'll show you here. This will change the sound completely right here if you mess around with this dot. So that's important. What else do I use that is very important? So one thing that you're going to want to know about is in Serum, changing the waveform can change a lot. So here at the top, this is the basic waveform. Sounds pretty good right off the bat, but there's a lot in here. These are the ones that come with Serum. You can make your own. But so good place to start. You go to Analog, Basic Shapes, and this will give you kind of a few different ones. The sine wave is a basic bass shape, so you can't even really hear it. You have to turn it way up. Got your basic, I forget what that's called, I believe it's a saw. A few different ones, so this is a good place to start. And then the more you want to mess around, the more you can just kind of check out which sounds you like. So, you know. Anyways, so that's very important. Okay, octaves, those change, you know, how high or low the note is. Unison, we've already talked about. Voicing, porta. This is the way to get notes to, instead of immediately snapping from one note to the next, to kind of have a smooth transition. So here you hear the way it sounds. Here I'll show you how it sounds without it. And then if you put it on, here it kind of slides between the notes. So that's going to be a huge game changer for your sounds, depending on how you want to implement that. One thing I know that you care a lot about is the filter effect. So the one that makes it sound like you're outside of the club before you walk in type shit. So easiest way to do it. There's lots of different ways you can do it on each MIDI that you want, but what I'll do is I'll just go to the master here, go into audio effects, then auto filter. So now basically this comes up here. This is your frequency, so this determines exactly what it's going to sound like, how cut off it's going to sound. So here, I'll show you. So you're probably wondering how you can make that effect, permanent. And what you would do is you would draw the basically the way that it would shape up on here. So under master, normally goes to mixer automatically. Click on the mixer arrow here, or none. It might say none. I don't know. Then you go to auto filter. And then underneath it, where it says device on, scroll down to frequency. Okay? So, say I wanted to make the first part of this sound like you're outside the club. So that would be about here-ish, right? So, highlight the section you want, the easiest way to do it, or just draw as you go, and drag it down. So, see what it sounds like about here. And then this next section, we'll put it a little higher. Make it sound like you've walked in, or whatever. And then if you want a smoother transition, what you can do is kind of create a slope between the two sections. So do it longer or shorter, whatever. You can go both ways. Anyways, so that is a cool little technique that you can have access to now. If you ever want to remove it, you just unclick all the dots. Pretty simple. Another thing you want to make sure of is you want to keep this section in the master mostly not going into the red. So notice how I was going to the red a little bit there. Basically, if it does, easiest way to stop that, audio effects, glue compressor, you put this on the master. Then from here, you want to reduce the threshold, which will free up some space. It'll take you out of the red. See what I mean right here? Watch the red bar. Quiets it down a little bit, but it's compressing it. And the makeup bar kind of turns the volume back up that you've lost from the compression. Compression ratio here depends how aggressively you're trying to compress it, how small it makes the waves. You lose a little bit of audio quality there, but you're going to lose that when you export it anyway. Now if you want to record sounds, pretty simple. Let's just insert an audio track. So right click on any MIDI, click insert audio track. You can insert MIDI tracks too if you want to have more layers to your sounds. So we'll just do audio track layer for now. You hit record, and you make sure that you're recording from your microphone or wherever you're trying to record from. and you record your audio. Alright, so just for an example, put down some audio. Doesn't have to be vocals, it can be other things, but I really have only worked with vocals. Typically with vocals, you're going to want to learn how to use the equalizer. EQ8 under the audio effects tab is going to give you the ability to kind of cut out the lower end of the vocals, which you don't really want, as it will interfere with the low end of your more bassy MIDI, or some of the high end too, just depending. You can play around with it, see what sounds best. Another thing that I like to do on my vocals is chorus them a little bit, because unless you're singing live, a lot of times the audio just doesn't sound quite right, at least through my mic. I don't have the best mic, so chorus just kind of helps it give more of an authentic feel to it. It just sounds a little better. Don't go overboard with it, but play around with it. Sometimes you can do a bit of delay too. Yeah, I mean, those are the main things. I think the rest of it you're going to be able to just kind of teach yourself. One more thing. So, when you're done, when you have a song that you like, go up to File. Obviously, you want to save. So, I will save this one. Put it there, save it. Then you're going to want to go File, Export Audio/Video, and you're going to want to put in the render start, which for me it's going to be the beginning here, 111. So 111, and then where does it end here? 911. Okay, so obviously we want it to be a little longer. Maybe I'll just put it to where this audio clip ends. I don't know. 931. So we'll go to 931. Obviously you're going to do a lot longer of a song than this, but we'll export it. Export it to wherever you want. I'm going to put mine in the project file on the desktop. Wait for it to render. Then anyways, so that's pretty much everything you need to know to get started. So have fun, and just call me or text me or whatever you want to do with any questions, and I can make you more tutorials or just show you what to do. Love you, dude.